Are you someone living in the United States and have been looking at the UAE real estate market for quite some time and want to know the differences between investing in the United States versus investing in the Emirates? Then this video is for you. So now you are living in the United States and you are exploring the UAE real estate market as an investment opportunity there. So how did it all start? It all started when you got intrigued by some real estate video that came across your social media feed, or you bumped into a property exhibition or expo in your city, or you're already quite familiar with UAE. Maybe you have had few visits to Dubai, or your original home country is close to UAE, so you have strong connections to Dubai and you quite often travel to Dubai for transit. So you came across about this idea of investing in the Dubai real estate market, especially since in UAE and particularly Dubai, the Dubai real estate market has been booming since the last 4-5 years. And now you are trying to diversify your real estate investments into other areas of the world. So in this video, I'll break down what are the key differences between investing in the United States and investing in UAE. First difference that I will point out is what are the total costs associated with making a purchase in real estate in US and Dubai. Then I will talk about the various different capital appreciation rates, the rental ROIs that can be achieved in UAE, as well as I will talk about how bank mortgages work in the UAE, what are the different forms of financing a property, as well as in the end I will show you the whole process of how it actually works out in reality when you do a purchase in Dubai real estate. And on the top of it, in this video, I'll also talk about what are the tax implications for you if you are a US citizen and you are investing in the UAE. Well, why you should listen to me? I'm not just a random YouTuber or a wannabe influencer from Dubai. I'm Dubai Land Department's licensed broker working with one of the top most branded real estate agencies of Dubai, Experience Realty, where I help people like you buy and sell their properties in the UAE. And currently I'm visiting the United States to meet some of my clients to understand the local context and the investment thought principles of my US-based clients so that I'm in a better position to know their mindset and how they think through the investment and be able to map and link the right property deal in the UAE. Let me first break down the total property costs for a buyer in the States. It depends on whether it's a cash buyer or a mortgage buyer. Most likely it is the case of a mortgage buyer where the closing costs typically range from 2 to 5% of the loan principal and can include application and credit fees, origination and underwriting fees, title fees, appraisal fees, home inspection fees, transfer tax, and a few other costs as well. Cash buyers are still required to pay for things like notary fees, property taxes, recording fees, and other local, county, and state fees. Unlike a buyer who is using financing, cash buyers won't have to pay any mortgage-related fees. But most cash buyers still opt to pay for things like appraisals, inspections, and owner's title insurance, which still come out to about around 2% in total for a cash buyer. Now let's compare this total closing costs if you are, let's say, buying in the United Arab Emirates. So it also depends whether you're buying a new under construction property, which we call off-plan properties, or are you buying a ready property from an individual in the secondary market. If you are buying an off-plan property in the UAE, then apart from the property price, you would have to pay a 4% registration fee to the Dubai Land Department or the specific Emirates Land Department, and on the top of it you would pay a minor about $1,000 admin fees to the developer for the documentation work for some of the projects. And on the other side, if you're buying in the secondary market in resale, then you have the 4% Dubai Land Department registration fee and as well as a 2% brokerage to the agency helping you buy that property. Yes, you heard it right. In the UAE, it's the buyer who's paying the 2% commission, not the seller. So you can also expect like a a 5% VAT as well on the 2% commission as a buyer. And if I talk about the other costs, let's say if you are transferring the property from the seller to your name in the trustee office, which are the offices by the Dubai Land Department, there will be some costs involved there, which could be in the range of about 0.5% of the sale value. And if you're buying that property through a mortgage, then there will be a mortgage registration fee of about 0.25% charged by the Dubai Land Department. And some banks also charge a bank mortgage processing fee, which could be about 0.5%. So overall, in totality, you can expect to about 6 to 7% additional cost on the top of the sale price in their resale market in Dubai. Now, talking about capital appreciation, which is one of the key topics in all my videos. So I've done some research on the US market, and I've seen that the average house price growth is varying from city to city to state to state. Since US being such a big country, a diverse nation, some of these cities, some of the towns are experiencing percentage growth from 7 to 9% annually, whereas there are some states and some cities where the prices are not really going further and the markets have cooled down. Totality, a data analytical firm for the US property ecosystem cited 3.3% US home price growth from January 2024 to January 2025. So it is kind of hard to directly compare the capital appreciation growth in US and in Dubai, but I can tell you what is the capital appreciation achieved in Dubai. As per DXB Interact, which is where you can get all the real estate data from the Dubai Land Department, the average property price grew by 11.6% from 2023 to 2024 in Dubai. And talking about rental returns, what I've seen in the US, it's again varies, but generally you can expect a rental return from about 6 to 7%, and which is the same case in Dubai as well, unless you get a very nice deal or you are doing short-term rentals where you can target double-digit rental returns as well in the UAE. Well, the rental returns in the US depend whether the property is in the city's core or in the suburban areas. But we'll do a deep dive comparison between Dubai and specific US cities in some of the future videos that you will see on my channel. So right now I'm at the Santa Monica Boulevard right here in LA. You can see the beach as well as the Pacific Ocean. So moving on the conversation, we were talking about mortgage rates. What's the difference between the ones in US and the ones that you can get in UAE? So in US, what I have seen is that the average 30-year fixed mortgage rates are hovering between 6.4 to 6.9%. So you can expect like a mid 6% interest rate for the mortgage in US, whereas the mortgage rates in UAE from the UAE banks are in the range of 4 to 6%. That depends on whether you are a resident or a non-resident. For residents, it's close to 4%, and they can leverage up to 80% of the property value. Whereas as a non-resident, you will only get the loan for about 50 to 60% depending on bank to bank. So apart from the mortgage rates, what I can add here is that in UAE, the other option apart from the bank leveraging is the developer's payment plan, which is interest free. So you can leverage the payment plan, pay the property in parts over a span of 4 to 5 years, and you don't have to pay interest. So a lot of the international investors are choosing to go with the payment plan in an off plan in an under construction newly launched property in the UAE. Another thing that I want to add here is that a lot of the people who are US citizens or have been living in the US for a long time, one of the main reasons of investing in the UAE is to get the UAE Golden Visa. And to put it in straightforward terms, you have to invest in a property which is more than 2 million dirhams. That is about $550K US dollars. And it could be a ready property, it could be an off-plan property as well. As soon as you have put in your 20% down payment in an off-plan property which is worth more than 2 million dirhams, you can apply for the UAE Golden Visa. So what do you get with this UAE Golden Visa internally? It is like a 10-year renewable visa where you have the right to live in the UAE, open a bank account, rent a property, send your children to school, get a driver's license. As well as the main advantage of the UAE Golden Visa is that you have to renew it after 10 years and you don't need to fly in back to the UAE every 6 months, which is the case of the regular 2-year visa. So once you get your Golden Visa, you can stay outside the UAE for as long as you would want, and it will stay active till the time you hold the property with which you have got the UAE Golden Visa. Now, one of the main things that a lot of the Americans want to invest in the UAE is probably that they might be thinking that UAE is famous as a country with no taxes. And that is true that there are no taxes on capital gains as well as the rental income. But the sad part is that if you are holding a US passport, US citizenship, you would still have to pay the taxes in your country, in US, for the capital gains and rental income that you make in UAE. So maybe you can still get some consultation from your tax advisor, but that's the case. Right now, even if you are buying a property in the UAE and you make some gains and you are a US citizen, you would have to pay the taxes in the US for those gains. So now you will ask me, what is the process for buying a property here in the UAE? So just like how you do it in the States, first you should choose the right consultant who works for you, who represents you as a buyer, and then he takes down your requirements, your goals, your objectives, and then does the study, does the work to present you the best options, whether it's in the off-plan market or in the ready market, like in the resale market. So in resale, what the agent, like a consultant like me, would do is like, I will find you the right option. And then, if you are in the UAE, you can have a viewing of the property. And then, if everything is finalized, the negotiations are done with the seller, then we close the deal with the MOU, with the contracts, which are all digitized by the Dubai Land Department. And then you just have to come to UAE, or you can send your power of attorney to do the transfer in the trustee office, and the property is yours. And in the other case, if you're buying an off-plan property, it is even more simpler. Basically, I'll be giving you some options with some payment plans, and if you like one option, it is a straightforward process. You just have to sign the reservation agreement and you'll get the sales and purchase agreement once you have paid the full down payment. You don't even need to come to UAE to buy an off-plan under construction property, which you get it from the developer. In certain cases, in certain launches, when there is so many interested people in a particular project, then the developer opens an expression of interest where you would have to pay a certain amount as a deposit to get into the line. And once your turn comes, you get an option and then you can buy the property. If you don't get a right property or you want to back out, then that amount is refundable by the developer. So some developers have the EOI process, but in some cases, you get the direct allocation from the developer. But I'm there in the UAE to help you take the right steps of the process, whether it's resale or off-plan. So first, choose the right consultant who takes your motivation, your requirements, and your goals into much consideration and find you the best option. So I hope this video was a little informational for you to help you start exploring the UAE real estate market in a better way. My number is on the screen. You can send me a WhatsApp and let's start trying to know each other so that I get to know what are your requirements, what are your goals, and let's try to take it into a nice working relationship of buying a property in the UAE. This is Ankit from Experience Realty, signing out from LA.